Good afternoon, everyone. So, to start with, I think we need to know how many of you have been working with websites, putting content, and keeping it up to date. So if you can put your hand up, that will give me an idea to how many people we need to talk. Okay, thank you so much. So that means that the rest of the group has not done that task, but it's interesting to find out what can be done, okay? So for the hour that we have, we definitely don't have the time to go into depths of coding and programming and tricks and all those things, but we will have some general conversation, and then we will show some solutions that we have as a church as well, that perhaps your church can benefit if you are under a very restricted budget, we could say. So to start with, we sometimes think that because we have a social media channel, we can, thank you. This one, right? Yes, I see it now. Although I have the glasses, I think sometimes I need more. So this gray was very, very pale. Sometimes we think that because we already have as a church a social media channel, that's all we need to talk to people in the digital space. But if you are more into the social media, you realize that then you need to reach to the other people who are in the other channel, yes? And so you end up with several places, and you still need a central point where to direct your people. You still need a point where you will give them all the info about your church. So when you build your church website, before you even consider what platform you are going to use, you need to know what you want to tell the neighborhood. Let's think the neighbor that is next door to your building. Let's not go so general, yeah? Think the neighbor next door. What do they want to find in my website, in my church? We all look weird probably when we go to church. What do they do in this little church? They come dressed in a very special way on Saturday. Why do they do that? Why the full day in there? What do they actually believe? How does that belief impact my life as the neighbor next door? I could say that one of my neighbors is a very experienced carpenter. And just by chance, if I can use the word chance, but I think in the spiritual context, we know that nothing is by chance. So we had this conversation with my neighbor, and then questions after questions and questions. And I'm very involved in Pathfinders. When I found out that he was a very experienced carpenter, I said, can you teach a class in my Pathfinder club? And what is Pathfinders? And so there you go, see? What do we have? What ministries we have, and so on. So before anything, think in that content. Because on the website, you have all the information. It's your big umbrella of what your church is. And then, and why it's relevant to your neighborhood. And then in the social media is where you can nurture those conversations. So both of them are important, and we must not neglect any of them. So in one, you nurture your audience in the social media. In the website, you have all the information. And also your brand on the digital space. Because if your church has a full domain, that's what you're going to be known for. Whatever you have in that name, that domain, that is your church. So it's very important. Okay, so we have these two sections. And when you are thinking in your content, think, The main thing, obviously, the content, what will you want them to know? And the other one, what experience will they have? You probably know about the colors, the fonts. Is it a very small font? Is it a large font? Is there any space? Is it clear? Is there enough blank areas that will be restful to the eyes? How is that experience? There are people who get very stressed when they come to a website. And in the way they see things, it's very stressful, physically stressful. So how do we test that our website is good on those areas? So that customer experience is so important. And you don't want your neighbor just to abandon the task of finding more about your church because they don't find it useful. And then we have the issue of the font size, for example. Yes. Can they see easily? There is an user experience company from the US, and they say, they have done a research, and they say that we need to write web content regardless of the experience or type of company that we are running. We need to write the content for people in year 6 literacy. Easy, simple, to the point, instructions, that is to help them find the things faster. The more they dig, perhaps you can have a content that gets more in depth if you are thinking in a spiritual prophecy, three angels message, an article on that you want on your website. Things can get complicated at that level for people who don't have a good base on the prophecies, if this is the first time that they come across it. So you need to think, for those who are in the writing section, remember we work all together, so writing section, creative writers, how do we put this message? Yeah. People who do the Bible studies, the pastors who have all this in-depth knowledge, how do we put that at a level of a year 6 student? And hopefully with that level of easy access, their experience also will be increased. Yeah. So we have to think how to improve our content in such a way that our customers, in this case, can be improved. Okay. So once you have all this content, you will realize that you are having so much information that you can start categorizing them. So you go together with your team, you thought through what content you want, and then you realize that you want to let your neighbor know what you are doing next weekend. So you have your events. And then you want to tell them that you give some services, support for men, support for women, support for children, that you have a toddler group or something like that. And so you realize that you have these categories, like could be activities or ministries or services. So you need to see how to categorize all this content. Yeah, so far we have done recognize the content, see what experience we want to give to them, and we need to categorize them. So that brings us to the navigational menu. Sometimes we want to say a lot, and we don't know how to structure all that. So we want to say a lot, and we end up with a very long menu that on a mobile will be very difficult to see. So quick tip is just to keep your main menu 4, 5 items. And then from there, inside, you can probably put more. But let's avoid to go to a third level menu. Yeah? So first option, and then display the menu. That's it. Let's not go to another level. Yes. Perhaps what we can do is split the menu in a way that you have your main menu, but then you have something that we call sometimes utilities menu. Yes, and so you have a different menu on the other side, or on your footer when people can go and see in more detail where they can find. So that navigational menu is very important. And one of the reasons is because when the search engines are looking at your website, they see that navigational menu. And so if it gets too much in depth, then it is more steps for, not only for the people, but only for the users, for the search engines. So it's very important that we get all these things right, and start with something that is small, that you can give that information to people. Then we have things that will help you to keep track how your website is performing. So there are several search engines, but the most popular, used, and we could say mentioned is the Google Analytics as well. So it's very easy for you to get an account with Google, and then you have with that your analytics. So they will give you a little code that you will have to put on your website. You put that in a header of or a page, if we can put it in simple terms, and then it will keep track of what your users are looking at, what pages they use. And so here we have things that you want to know is the number of visitors of the website, the time the visitors spend on the website, and something we call conversions. So how many people actually landed into your website because they were referred to you, or they converted into your content. We could put it in those words. And then also the bounce rate. So your page was not used and they bounced it, they abandoned, we could say, they abandoned your web page, and what percentage of that is happening. Perhaps we don't have very useful information there. And so when we put in general all these things, we can say that we definitely need to have the analytics, the website needs to look good, definitely responsive to the mobiles, not only to the telephone, but to the tablets and iPads and all those things, have very relevant content, and then put in there all your social media channels so that whatever platform they're using on social media, they can go and they can follow you and have the conversation. So when it comes in terms of maintaining data, in the union, we offer a tool that I will show you in a moment. And a very easy thing is that the church gets very excited. They request the website, we give them the website, but then they do not maintain the website. So they put probably very well good thought in bringing that website, but once everything is in place, they forget. Especially the pastor changed, the pastor moved away a year ago, and the contact details in the website is still of that pastor who left and not the new one. And sometimes they don't manage to talk to the church, someone else will notice, and then they ring the office and they say, well, there is a website for this church and they have this wrong information, so sometimes I need to get access to your website and change that. Sometimes if I have an easy contact, then I will say, okay, you know what, we got this phone call, can you change your website, please keep it updated, or something like that. Thankfully, that doesn't happen very, very often, but enough for us to realize that maintaining the website is being neglected. Sometimes the person moved, the person is not anymore the communications leader, or the writer, or the web admin, as we want to call it. The person is not there. So we need to have someone able to carry on this task. So maintaining the website is important. And we cannot be just left with the contact us form. The more data the website has, the more they will get to know your church. The more data your website has, the more information you are serving, the more you can be found because you have relevant content. So more data is also equals to finding what is that works and does not work on your website. What content is relevant and what content is not. Because if we put the analytics code behind the scenes, then you will see, actually, people were not looking at this type of content. Is it relevant? We had it for long enough, and there were no clicks. But this one here, this other kind of article, communication, event, whatever, this one was very popular. Why? And then you start making the questions and analyzing what works and what does not work. We also want to find what does not work, because when we know, then we know how to address it. We can start thinking, what can we change? What can we improve? So that is in terms of the content and the soft area, we could say, of the website. That is very important in the planning. There are many platforms that we can use. Many. 10 years ago, I remember in the union, we were encouraging people to have their own website. But there were not that many platforms that would be very easy to use. These days, that changed in just 10 years. So we have now things like Wix, Squarespace, FastHost, the most popular ones, and those are easy for anyone just to drag what you need, images, the templates are already done. It's so easy, so straightforward. And you can have there an idea of the costs that they offer. Yeah. So in a year, you can probably budget like £100 for your website. Might be too much, might not, I don't know. It depends of if someone is donating, or if someone or the church has enough money for that activity, or if it's something easy for your church to fundraise. I don't know. Every church is completely different. But that gives us an idea that we need to pay for the domain name of the website, and we also need to pay a monthly rate for the hosting where our website is going to be sitting. So then also depends how much space do we have to put our photos, to put our videos, to put our page. How much space do we have? And then there is the speed and many more things that we are not going to get in detail now. But that gives us an idea, roughly 90, 80 pounds a year for your website. So what the church did some years ago was to create Net Adventist. And probably some of your churches have already Net Adventist. It has changed across these 10 years. And at the end, they probably 6 years ago, they decided that they will have a fully responsive templates, because they were very fixed before. And so now we have, this is one of the templates we have, and there are now others. Then we had the Adventist identity coming from the General Conference. And you probably see now there are some posters or some websites that have a 7th column. How many of you have noticed that one? Can I see your hands? Thank you, 2. Okay, let me explain you what it is. The idea was that because we are 7-day Adventists, wherever we print, we will divide the page in 7 columns, same width, and the last one, say if this is the last section of my paper, the last one will always be with a color and the logo representing the Sabbath. Yeah. So you will see in some posters that there is a column because of the 7th column. On the website, they did the same. So they created something, a template, a framework of design just where we have that column. And so there are some of the headers that allow you to have that column, and there are others that don't. So in this case, this is before the 7th column image or display. So this is one and now we can pass to the Net Adventist website. So if you want to log in, oh, sorry. Do you have your computers here? If anyone has the computer, yes, thank you. You can use support@adventist.uk if you want to log in, have a look around, and the password is training. So I'm gonna close that tomorrow, so you can use it in the meantime. So we're gonna go to, we have 2 websites for testing. One is called My Church at mychurch.adventistchurch.org.uk. And this is at the moment how it is. We just use it for testing purposes. And this one here has the new Adventist identity template. Yeah, so it has the menu on the top. It's just one block. This one doesn't have the 7th column. Is the logo on the other side. And then we have the other website that is called Demo. Demo.adventistchurch.org.uk. That one is the one where you can log in with the support email address. If you want now, as we are talking, feel free to log in. So this is how it looks at the back end. Very easy, so you don't feel afraid of messing anything, and if you do mess, then you can call me. Demo.adventistchurch.org.uk. Now the back end is not very good for mobile, okay? So it will give you a better view on a laptop. Yeah, so once we log in, where do we log in? At the bottom of that page, there is a section that it says login. So just go there, log in, put the email support@adventist.uk, and then the password that is training, and that will get you to here. So we have on this side the main things that we have, the main type of content, and on the top is some settings that do more with how you manage or admin the website. So the main tab is site content, and in there you can work on your home page. You can also see who has requested you access to your website. Perhaps there is a person in your team who sent you there, who has requested there some approval. Main menu, we can click on that one, please, on the main menu, just to give an idea how easy it is. So you can, we need to scroll towards here. Scroll on the side, yeah, thank you. And you have here adding the items, sub-items, and once you select the menu item that you want to add, I'm not going to ask you, Don, to get in there because it's going to be too much for the wide screen. Then obviously you are pointed. Perhaps you want to connect to a page that you have created. So then you go and select content pages, and from content pages then you go and select the page that you want. If you want to select an announcement, if you're linking your menu item to an announcement, then you select announcements, and so on. Very easy, very straightforward. So let's come back into announcements. Then we have the calendar. In the calendar, you can create your own calendar here on Net Adventist, or if you have any other calendar that you can integrate, fine. Any .ics, you just put the link here, and you can keep that displaying on your website. Then we have the announcements. We're going to leave the content pages at the end. You have announcements, and in here again, simple, you just make a record of what announcement you are creating. Keep in mind this one of the announcements, and news as well. At the bottom, please scroll down. Thank you. So, news. Let me see, calendars, forms, news. Okay, so we have the news in this section, and again, it's very simple. Enter the header, the content, images. You can choose how long you're gonna keep your news displaying. Recently, one church called me and says, listen, we haven't been able to create news, and we have up to December, but now we are in almost the end of January, and those news that we had in December are gone. And they thought that they couldn't specify in the system to keep them for longer. And I said, just change the expired date for the publishing, and that's it. And so it was very straightforward, and they was, okay, good. So, sometimes there are very simple things that we don't realize. It's a quick change. So just if you want your news to be 6 months, well, put there that expires in 6 months, and by God's grace, you will have something already created by then. Yes? Per each news. Yeah. Yes? No. No, because whatever you put in there will be an image that is public domain, and for protecting the images, you need to have a JavaScript or something running. We have a section where we can put JavaScripts on this one. It will be just a matter of testing if we will protect that. Because with that JavaScript, you can avoid the screenshot of the page, or you can actually disable the right click for saving and other more things. So, no, whatever you upload here is better that you have the license, and that's very important. That whatever you publish, and you have the full rights. And thank you for mentioning it. I didn't think about it, but it's more into the content section. Yes.
Wondering, how do you decide exactly what you want to do? Because maybe some other people don't feel that in their position they will not want so many, or added more added.
You mean like people? Yes. Or people added to the team, or content added? Content. Ah, yes. Yeah. Sadly, I think that on one way, thinking in the website structure, your communications teams should decide that, definitely. But from a coder point of view, I have very limited saying on that. But there is a comment here, Vanessa.
Just to emphasize again that everything, every image, every video that you upload to your website or even to your social media channels, you need to have the copyright. And we sometimes don't know this, but the General Conference receives every month copyright fines from all of us all over the world who upload these pictures and don't think twice perhaps about it. But because the headquarters are in the States, all fines go there. So please do check, and there are websites where you can get pictures and content that has free royalty. So please, please, please carry on respecting copyright. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so we have some forms as well. You can create forms. You also can make document groups. That's very important. If you want to share something with your elders, you can put it there, and then you give them password for only them to access that section. Then we have, okay, the news. We can go down. Some spaces for your photo album. So if you had an event, I need to admit that I don't like the album on this one because they are very small. But there is hope as you will see at the end of this presentation. So let's see what else do we have. I think we have the slideshows. Yes, the slideshows. That one is very important. Of course, the prayer request the same. Before I get to the slideshow, the prayer request sends an email. When someone submits a prayer request, sends an email to where you said to email to. And then you will get all the prayers, and in there you also ask if they are okay to display the prayer request on the website. If they say yes, fantastic. If they say no, then you need to be very careful that prayer request is not displayed. But yeah, you can email to them and see how it's going with the prayer that they ask, no, with that request, if it is any updates, and we can pray more or we can be thankful in our prayer. So it's that contact with them. So then we have the slideshows. The slideshows, you use it. Yes, we can get in there, Don, please. The slideshow is that big banner or photo that you have on the home page, and it needs to have the same width, obviously, for the image. So once you selected the first one to have this width and height, then all the others need to have the same one. It doesn't adapt it to what you want. Yes, it offers you that if you upload the image, it says you decided for this size, and it shows you what size, what area in your image will be used. But then you can crop it to amend it. But it's very nice. It's very important to have it. And in here, I would like to go to the demo website in the live to view the site on the top, and then further on to the right. Yes. And also you have the help. In the top you have the view site, so that's where you go and see how it's looking, and the help. In the help you find a PDF and a website also where you can see how to do the things. And because everything is so easy in Net Adventist, you can just go and in 5 seconds you find out what to do. Okay, so we click on view site, and let's scroll down, let's see. Oh, sorry, forgive me, Don. Let's go to the My Church, actually, because this is what I wanted to show you. This scroll slideshow, this one was made in a small section. And we left these images like that. This one, for example, where you see Campori, it had everything in the image. The search engine will not know what that image is about. And it doesn't know the date, the venue, the theme, the cost, nothing. So if the person who is visiting the website can see well, fine, they will find out all the information. But if they don't, they are missing that completely. So it's very important. This is just to stress how important it is that we put everything in text. So you have here a section in blank where in the slideshow you put the description and you say there information that is key for them to go and click, but also information that is important, key for the search engines to know what it is. So when the person who is partially blind, for example, when they are looking, if you try to look just through this, even smaller, through this and see how much that person can see in the screen, then you will realize that they have a very limited area that they see, and they probably have also a screen reader to allow them to see better. And they also have the screen reader that will dictate them and say what it is written there. So the screen reader, doesn't know that information. So you need to have something in that description that will help them. And then they will decide, do I click there or no? Yes. So that's one section. If we go to the first dot, Don, please, here. Yeah. Then we will see this one. This one, it went better. They put something there in the description. They learn more, but it's not enough to give of what it is in that image. So always think what text. We received sometimes churches, and this is not for Net Adventist, but for the main website, the regional website, they have events. So someone from your church sent a poster, and they just sent the image. And it is a lot of information in that poster. Then what we need to do is we need to type everything and then make the event. It will be very helpful if you send us the Word document with the information so that we can easily copy and paste to put into the event. Not because we're lazy, but because there is a lot of events, especially thinking in South England with so many churches. And Don's department there in his section, he has lots of events to put up. So it will facilitate a lot that journey. So then if we go to the last one, please, Don. Yeah, thank you. Then on this one as well, is less information on the poster, is cleaner, is not so packed. I know that we need to have posters with all the information, but when we think that that poster is going to go to the website, it must be a cleaner design. No words, not many words, because we need the words on the text that goes in the website, not on the image. Am I clear with that? Yeah, it's understandable, right? Yes.
So in that case, if you are dealing with a poster that will go on the notice board, for example, without any additional text, would you then prefer to have the text on the poster, given that it will be on physically on the notice board? Because I think the emphasis here is to have a cleaner poster if you're putting it online to accompany with the text. But how about if you're having it on the notice board without the addition of that additional text?
Notice board, you mean that physically there? You need it with all the information, as long as the contrast is good. Yeah, because you don't want to have it on the next side. So the poster, obviously in there, is having all the information in there and goes. But when it comes to the website, no. You can have the image that is in the background so that people connect with that event. But the rest of the information, better to be outside. Yes. So when you create a poster for an event, ask the person who is creating for you, can you give me a poster, just the image, so that I can use it in the thumbnails, I can use it in the website, and then the rest goes on text. Yeah. Okay, the last section I want to show you on Net Adventist is that although you see these type of templates, you can also adapt those templates. So please, Don, if we can go to the demo website and go to the themes and templates on the settings or on this one. Yes, that you are there. So themes and templates, yeah, in there. So here we see which one we are using. You click on change theme, and there are 3 themes that I would recommend at the moment. The other ones are legacy that are not mobile responsive. So the ones that we recommend are these 3. The Adventist Corporate, 1.8, the version 2, and the version 3. And you see the version 3 is the one that has the column that I was talking before. So those are the responsive ones. You can download any of those. So let's go back, please close this dialog box. You can download the theme. When you click on that one, it downloads a zip file with all the structure for the theme. You give that zip file to someone who knows CSS, and they will find their way in there. They can change how the website looks, how the layout is going to be. There is another section for widgets where you call your announcements, where you call your news, and so it's important that they keep that section for the widgets, but they will know what to do. And there is documentation as well for that, and if any question, they can call us in the BUC or in the conference, and then we share our email, telephone, and we can help. But what I'm saying is, it's easy for anyone who has CSS knowledge to modify the template. Yes.
Although you're saying they can modify the templates, are there things that they should not change?
No, no, I think it's safe. It is safe because it's just downloading. You are not changing the name of the boxes, the names of the divs. You are changing just where they, yeah, they're changing the colors, they're changing the fonts, they can change where the banner appears, where the sections appear, but they're not changing how we named those DIVs. So it's quite safe. The graphic designer will know where to check, and it's quite safe. Yes, and that theme, when you come here and you upload it, is only for your website. So Church A will not have access to Church B template. It's only for your website. So that's it for this section of the training. I think we have 10 minutes for questions. With this Net Adventist, many churches, we still have about 188 churches using it in all the union. There are plans to improve that one and use another system. And so we can say that we are migrating, improving now, seeing that the web world is different now. We have new technologies and we want to use those. So we are working with Hope Channel, Hope Media Center in Germany to see how we can use the platform that is being developed. And in terms of communications and media center, we work very close in partnership with our Hope Channel over there. Questions?
When there are churches that are bilingual, is there a way for there to be a version of the website that is English and another language?
No, Net Adventist. Sadly, that one is not on Net Adventist, but we are studying how to solve that in the other one. If the translation goes immediately, taking some functionalities from Google or not. Yeah.
Two questions. So the first one is, in order to try the system out and host it, is it available to be self-hosted somewhere in something like a Docker or website hosting service? No.
How it works, let me say. So here he is asking if you want to have this system set up somewhere else so that we can. We have some virtual servers that we can use. That's the one that we use to develop widgets and things like that. That is available. And you have that developer sites, and yeah, can be used. But if it's in terms of downloading the packet, put it on your own server, that's not available. Yes, so it has more configuration than needs to be done. Yeah. Any other? Oh, you had another.
Question. Could you tell us more about the new system that's been developed?
That one I don't have too much information. Yes, but we can talk later, and then we can see. Any other question? Yes.
Usually when you do your own configuration, make some changes, and there is a latest version of it, it wipes away the settings that you've done. Is that still the case? Do you have a way on here? Will your changes still remain, or it will wipe it?
No, it doesn't wipe.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, Net Adventist remains as you had it, and then it keeps the things and it doesn't wipe. But now you mentioned something. Adventist.io. Adventist.io. That one has a framework that you can use on your WordPress or any others, and then you use that setting. So who had it? Okay.
Sorry. Question. There was a company we hired to build our website. Is this a free service from SEC? Yeah?
Let me tell you. Free I think it used to be 100% free, but then the conferences decided that they needed to share the costs. So at the end, some bill comes to the church, which is around £6 a year. £6 a year. So that's why I said at the beginning, it's very economical, very accessible.
Do you have any personal favorite websites that the church does which you would advise us to have a look at, which are working really well? Yeah.
Yes, I do have one. Yes. I think we can start with this church, Stanborough Park. They still use it, and I think it works well. Yeah, thank you, Don. You can look for it and you can check. They have a domain, but they also use the domain of Net Adventist. And it works well because the church wanted to get something looking better, you know, the visual, with the new styling, the new fonts. We get that. But at the moment, was not possible. So I came to check at the website, and they keep the banner in that resolution that is small, it's not the big hero one, but it gives a little hint of what it is in this one. For example, this image here, I wouldn't use it, but in here they are trying to say giving offerings, so it's quick there pointing them what that prayer, that slide does. So I think they keep the information coming through these ones, have the services times as well, and the menu on the top is shorter. That's what they want the community to know. So yeah, if we scroll down, please, Don. They have announcements here. And here is one of the examples where it's useful to have a little bit of HTML. Yeah, because this one I hadn't seen it last week. But these activities, these are 1, 2, 3 news. And there is not enough content for the news description to send the other ones, push them down. So at that point, you need to have a little bit of HTML knowledge to add some blank spaces, and then the entry looks better. So they have their events. This section here is a widget of the events. So they have their events in the calendar, and so the widget is pulling the information from there. And the sunset times. So they want to show announcements they have, the events, what is coming, and then the times that they are meeting. So I think it looks okay. We could have a look at other ones, but time, I'm mindful. Yeah, thank you. Any other question? Thank you so much, Pastor. Oh, there is one question over there. Tools? The album. You want to see one album?
He said you'll give a tool for the album rather than using the Net Adventist album.
Yes, yes. No, I said that I didn't like the album because it's too small.
But you'll give another idea for an album. What was that?
No, I didn't. Sorry, no, I probably said it wrong. No, yeah. So that's what we have, and if you would like to have a training, then let us know through South England or through the BUC, and we can arrange for training to go and use Net Adventist. And you can email support@adventist.uk if you would like your church to have a Net Adventist website. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's get a round of applause for Paula on her very practical workshop websites. You know, it's a tricky world, this of the websites, and sometimes, you know, this is like a business card, you know.